Civilizations don't just fall. Sometimes they disappear so completely that the world forgets they ever existed. Entire kingdoms erased from memory, monuments swallowed by jungle and sand. Wonders dismissed as myth until someone dug them up and forced history to rewrite itself. Today we're uncovering 5 lost civilizations so extraordinary that even historians still struggle to believe they were real. A kingdom that conquered Egypt and built more pyramids than the Egyptians. A city in America bigger than London, then vanished without a trace. And a peaceful civilization that built pyramids for 2,000 years without ever making a single weapon. Where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. This is Ancient Cipher. Let's begin. Number 5. The Silla Kingdom, Korea. We begin in the mountains of southeastern Korea with a kingdom so wealthy its capital was known simply as the City of Gold. The Silla Kingdom ruled for nearly 1,000 years. They unified Korea. They built one of the longest-lasting dynasties in human history. But it's what they left in their tombs that hits you like a freight train. Gold crowns shaped like sacred trees and antlers, covered in jade and shimmering gold spangles. Kings buried literally dripping in gold, from head to toe. Crowns, belts, earrings, even golden shoes. The real mystery isn't the gold. It's that the gold is still there. While every other civilization's tombs were looted within generations, Silla's tombs were never touched. No doors, no tunnels, just a wooden chamber packed with treasure, buried under a mountain of boulders and earth. Robbers never stood a chance. The treasure sat in perfect darkness for 15 centuries. But here's what still keeps archaeologists up at night. These incredible gold crowns come from a time when Silla only had 4 known kings, yet they've found more crowns than kings. So who wore the others? And of the roughly 155 royal tombs surrounding the old capital, nearly 80% have never been opened. They're still sitting there, sealed, untouched, waiting. From a kingdom that hid its treasure too well to one that hid itself completely. Number 4. Tartessos. On the southwestern edge of Spain, in the time of the ancient Greeks, there was a kingdom so ridiculously rich in gold and silver that the greatest trading powers of the Mediterranean sailed across dangerous seas just to do business with them. The Phoenicians came for the metal. Greek historians wrote about its legendary king, Argentonios, who supposedly lived to 120 years old and welcomed foreign traders like old friends. The archaeology is real. Advanced metalwork, beautiful ceramics, trade goods from across the known world. And then, it's gone. The capital of Tartessos has never been found. Not once. Over 3,000 years, the rivers shifted, the coastline changed, and today the leading theory says the heart of this wealthy kingdom lies buried beneath the marshes at the mouth of the Guadalquivir River. Satellite imagery now shows strange geometric shapes under the mud. Circles and rectangles that shouldn't exist. This was a real, rich, powerful kingdom, mentioned by the Greeks, possibly named in the Bible as the source of King Solomon's gold, and it simply dissolved into legend. A civilization that had it all, vanished so thoroughly that we're still not sure where its capital actually was. So what's still waiting down there, buried under that Spanish marsh? Number 3. The Kingdom of Kush, Sudan. Number 3 takes us back to where this whole story began, the kingdom that had more pyramids than Egypt. The Kingdom of Kush rose along the Nile, in what is now Sudan. For centuries, they circled Egypt like predators. Then, around 730 BC, the Kushite king Piye did the unthinkable. He marched north and conquered Egypt. He and his successors became the 25th dynasty, the Black Pharaohs, ruling the most famous civilization on earth for nearly 100 years. One of them, Cahokia, even restored the great temples of Karnak. Then the Assyrians drove them out. The Kushites retreated south and did something remarkable. They kept building pyramids. Steeper, narrower, packed together in dense clusters. They built so many that today Sudan has more than twice as many pyramids as Egypt. Meroe, their later capital, became a massive industrial powerhouse, one of the greatest ironworking centers of the ancient world, and in some periods was ruled by powerful warrior queens the Greeks called the Candace. So, why have most people never heard of them? An empire that conquered Egypt, that outbuilt Egypt in pyramids, that developed its own writing system, and yet it was quietly erased from the story we were all taught. That's not an accident. That's a documented gap in history. And the strangest part, the Kushites created their own alphabet, Meroitic script. We can read the letters, but we still can't fully understand the language. An entire empire left us its records and locked them in a code we haven't cracked yet. If your view of history is starting to crack, good. That's exactly what this channel is for. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. The next two are even wilder. Drop a comment. Which of these had you never heard of? Number 2, Cahokia, USA, and this one is sitting in your own backyard. 1,000 years ago, the largest city in North America wasn't in Mexico. It wasn't on the coast. It was right here in what is now southern Illinois, just across the river from modern St. Louis. At its peak, Cahokia had up to 20,000 people, larger than London at the exact same time. It sprawled across 6 square miles and was crowned by over 120 massive earthen mounds. The centerpiece, Monk's Mound, rises 100 feet high. Its base covers more ground than the Great Pyramid of Giza, and they built the entire thing by hand, basket after basket of dirt, carried on their backs for decades. They even built a giant wooden calendar, a circle of tall timber posts that perfectly tracked the sun, the solstices, and the equinoxes. Then, sometime between 1300 and 1350 AD, everyone just left. The city was completely abandoned. No European ever saw it standing. The people who came after barely mentioned it in their oral traditions. It became a ghost, an orphan. A metropolis bigger than London, erased so thoroughly that its own descendants seemed to want to forget it ever existed. What happened here that was so bad no one wanted to remember it? And that brings us to number 1, Caral-Supe, Peru. The civilization that may force us to rewrite where everything began. Deep in the Supe Valley of Peru, just 200 kilometers north of Lima, stand 6 massive pyramids. Sunken circular plazas, giant staircases, all of it 5,000 years old as the pyramids of Egypt and thousands of years older than the Maya, the Aztec, or the Inca. This is Caral, the oldest known civilization in the Americas. One of only 6 places on Earth where complex society emerged completely on its own. For decades, no one cared. An American researcher found the site in 1948, saw no gold and no pottery, and walked away unimpressed. It was ignored for half a century. Then Ruth Shady started digging properly in the 1990s and realized she was standing on something that breaks every rule. Because here's what's truly insane. In all of Caral, after decades of excavation, archaeologists have found 0 weapons. No fortifications, no defensive walls, no evidence of warfare whatsoever. A massive, sophisticated civilization that lasted for 2,000 years, with no war. Every theory we have about how complex societies form says you need conflict, conquest, and violence to build something this big. Caral looks at those theories and quietly disagrees. They built their pyramids through trade, music, farming, and faith. They traded seashells from Ecuador and macaws from the Amazon, and when brutal climate shifts hit, they adapted, without tearing each other apart. So the real question isn't how these 5 kingdoms vanished. The real question is, how did this one even exist? 5 civilizations that believed they would last forever. A golden Korean kingdom that outsmarted every grave robber in history. A rich kingdom that dissolved into a Spanish marsh. An African empire that conquered its conqueror. An American city bigger than London that its own descendants tried to erase. And the oldest civilization in the Americas. One that built pyramids for 2,000 years without ever making a single weapon. Every one of them was certain they were eternal. Everyone was swallowed by sand, marsh, jungle, time, and our own forgetting. The real unease isn't how they disappeared. It's that entire empires, ones that ruled Egypt, outpopulated London, and built wonders that still stand, can be wiped so completely from human memory that we had to dig them back out of the ground just to prove they were ever real. So here's the question that stays with you. What else are we standing on top of right now that we've simply forgotten? If this video rewired how you see history, hit that like button, subscribe to Ancient Cipher, and tell me in the comments, which of these 5 did you find hardest to believe was real? I read every single one. The cipher is just beginning to be decoded. I'll see you in the next mystery.